Asteroid of fear.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. And on today, we got a little solo Saturday, although I'm recording this about 3.5 hours before it's going to drop. So, yeah, another episode of the Caregiving Chronicles. This will be episode 4. And man, yes, I earned every minute of it. Let's just say when I woke up this morning, my accountability group good morning message was TGIF, but it was anything other than TGIF. Um, Although there are some things to be grateful for in there, which I will explain. So let's get this ball rolling. If you're watching, you probably noticed I got my hair down, just took a shower, had an hour walk, and hit up the chiropractor, had some food, got clean, and here we are. Disregard if you hear the dishwasher in the background, as I had to set up in the kitchen because where I would normally record, my daughter's in there talking to her friends, and on the other side of that wall where I would normally record is blasting Fox News from Mr. Buck. So chances are you might even still hear that in the background. I can hear it. Yeah, I can hear it. And I hear the dishwasher, of course, but perhaps the sound will be good for you guys. Anywho, let's get the ball rolling. So Monday, I dropped a little weekend recap and kind of reflection. Wednesday, you should have had a Michael Osterlink's episode, and I really enjoyed talking to him. Glad to get that released and out there. Him and I are very similar. Yeah, it was an enjoyable conversation. I would definitely do that one again. Um, in the future, of course, once I complete whatever this part of my curriculum is in this caregiving role, and when it's time for the podcast to maybe move a different direction or same direction, however you want to look at it. But for the time being, you are going to get to know a little bit more about me, about what I'm thinking, how I deal with stuff, I guess. So, yeah, let's take it on. All right. So, Monday, we dropped that episode, and I can't remember most of the day. I'm pretty sure it was okay. Pretty sure it was okay. But every day kind of starts off with a little bit of stress, a little bit of anxiety. My back's been tweaked a little bit. I've been hitting up the chiropractor, trying to loosen that up. It's some soft tissue damage, of course. And um, yeah, so that's been kind of a bummer, an underlying bummer. You're just not 100% when you wake up every day. And some days your breath is taken away as soon as your feet hit the floor, just because you get a shot of nerve pain kind of down the center of your spine. But yeah, I think Monday was okay. Monday was spent prepping for what would be the two appointments we had Tuesday. Now, these appointments were important. One, because they were the follow-up appointments with the doctor who's going to sign the orders for occupational therapy, physical therapy, etc., home health. So we needed to make that one. That was made coming out of rehab. And then when we got him home, he had a paper on the desk stating that he had a cardiology appointment, same day. So that was going to be a task, especially if you guys hadn't gone back and listened to the episode last Saturday where I talked about my experience with the VA and transportation and everything regarding that. So we prepared this time, Monday we got everything ready. We called the cab company for the parataxi and double checked that, got that all straightened out. Shout out to Joan over there. She was the one that really hooked it up, really helped me out and got it all right. And Yeah, I could even hear her over the intercom during one of the rides of saying, "Hey, he can call me, give him direct number, so this doesn't get messed up." But I'll say anyone who's willing to give their name and tell you to call them if you have any problems, they're probably pretty confident in their abilities. So, yeah, shout out to Joan. It's great. No matter what your job is, just give it 100%. Do it right. Give out good information. It matters. It matters a whole bunch. So, yeah, Tuesday was, you know, we want to wake up, we want to get ready, we want to have breakfast, have plenty of time, comb hair, brush teeth, everything we would need to do for a 1 o'clock appointment. Cab's supposed to be here between 12 and 12:15. So, we start off early. I think he spilled maybe some water or orange juice on him. So we were definitely changing shirts. And yeah, so we got that. And then, the hardest part, which is the transfer from what was then a futon, now a hospital bed, because we had to wait for it to come in, but going from a futon to a wheelchair. And he has these kind of tile wooden floors. And when he put his hand on the opposite armrest while I'm kind of lifting assist him while he's trying to stand up, the chair just kind of starts sliding. And so when he transfers, his butt gets halfway on the seat, right at the edge, and his feet are slipping out, and I kind of have to muscle him up. And oh, yeah, not the best position, like take 139 pounds kind of from somewhere between your belly button and your nipple line. Not the most stable position, already in tension. And then you're back, and his feet are kind of flying underneath me, because his feet were slipping as well. So a damn near disaster, but we managed, and I get him out to wait. Interesting, because I was going to go through the front door, and he's like, "I thought you were going to go through the garage." Okay, we'll do it your way, however you want. It's just some people get stuck in their ways, and yeah, uh, I think of my own mortality, my own aging process, and we'll go through that and kind of this whole stuck in the ways thing. We'll dive into that, but turns out I think the cab got there about 12:40, so we waited a good 40 minutes, maybe more, and we thought we were going to be riding solo, and guess what? Open the door, two people, one's got a walker, a rolling walker, and he's got to make room for me in addition to Buck, who's riding in a wheelchair. So he has to sit up front, has to be strapped in, almost like probably cargo in a C-130 with ratchet straps and stuff. So, yeah, it took a good 10, 15 minutes. Then you get that anxiety. Hey, we're going to be late. So I call the doctors. They're there at lunch. I leave a message. I call back, and she's like, that's fine. Y'all are going to be late. Tell the cab not to leave. It's not going to be very long. And I'm like, well, it kind of didn't really matter because we had a 2 o'clock arrival anyway for the next cab to take us to the 3 o'clock appointment. So I wasn't too concerned on the wait. And, I was a little bummed out at first and had some anxiety over the whole being late thing because I hate to be late. He doesn't like to be late. We're military men, and, you know, early is on time is late, and late you're fired. It's kind of the way it works, the way our belief system is. So that was nerve-wracking a little bit, but it really didn't matter. We got there. It was uh, an uneventful appointment. I guess the doctor's older. I don't want to mention his name or put him on Front Street, but it just wasn't a very productive visit. It was kind of well, there's really not much we can do. Make sure you feed and water him. He actually said that in front of the patient to me. Hmm. Not the best bedside manner. He's not a plant. He's not an ICU patient because that's how you hear some people describe ICU patients. Turn them, water them, feed them. Those who are intubated. So yeah, I kind of wasn't thrilled about that in a sense of, here I am trying to stay positive, trying to give him hope, trying to make sure he's going to get better. And, if your primary care provider doesn't believe in you, then who's going to believe in you? I mean, other than me, the therapist, but, no hope. And then he started with some weird questions about, the family and this and that, the other. And I don't, that's not my place to discuss. And also, he's like, well, what happens if you and your wife suddenly have to leave town for like 24 hours? What are you going to do then? It's like, well, why would either one of us, why would we both need to leave town at the same time? It's rarely happened. Our life is kind of designed so one of us can stay behind and deal with our daughter if something does happen. And we have family. Um, yeah, everybody kind of chips in. That's how family works, and we're pretty tight. So we would figure it out. And maybe he's just looking out for us, but I didn't really like his line of questioning. He was a little bit of a dick, but doctors can be that way. Don't get me wrong. I've worked with a lot of incredible, humble, smart, articulate doctors who seem like human beings. And then I've worked with arrogant assholes that think they're the shit just because they went to medical school or just because they're the smartest on paper. Um, but they're not people persons. They don't know how to have good discussions. They certainly don't know how to have confrontations. That's for sure. They're probably good at telling you you have cancer, but if you were to ask them to, a physician in leadership to talk to another physician about maybe what they're not doing so hot at, that one kind of gets always passed to management because that's not their, yeah, they went to school for medicine to work and fix on people. Most management went to school for management, business stuff. So it kind of makes more sense. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of besides the point. I didn't really like that visit. It wasn't very productive. I didn't like the things that were said. And we walked out of there and sat and waited for the cab. And, you know, I mention that the conversation with the two people on the ride there was, it actually worked. It was cool. They were nice people. They were great people. It was fun talking to them and, they were professionals at riding. So they kind of understood like, oh, sometimes you're going to be late, this, that, the other. And, um, kind of giving me the lowdown, but they were really cool. Um, so shout out to those guys if you see this or hear this. I didn't catch their names, but I remember them for sure. They were pretty nice. So that was kind of a highlight in the middle of what ultimately became a shit show. So we get over, we wait for the bus. We actually get the same driver, which was kind of cool. We go over to the next location. We're kind of confused about which entrance to take, and we finally get them out and do all that. And, you know, over at the cardiology clinic, the nurse, maybe it was one nurse and one tech I interact with, but super nice, super friendly. Um, did their job well, helped me shift them in the seat. Cardiology at least had some adjustments to make, medication adjustments, by looking at, just some of his, like, maybe their biometrics or I don't know what you call them. Your, yeah, like your heart rate, all that, your vitals. So he made some suggestions to possibly give him some more energy and let's wean him off this. This seems to be doing this. And hey, let's change this around and see what we can do. So I appreciated that because You know, when you're looking for something to improve and you make the suggestion, that means that you have hope. You want to make it better. Unlike writing some stuff and saying, pretty much nothing we can do, feed them and water them. So, yeah, I was pretty stoked on that one. But here is where the hard part came in. So, when you, like your last visit of the day, you don't know what time the doctor's visit's going to end, and we're due to go home. So, they call that a wheel call. And so, I hook up the wheel call, and it's, the witching hour, maybe 4 to 5, probably. The busiest time. Man, yeah. The wait was brutal. We sat inside where it was cool, but he wanted to sit by the window to get some sun. I offered to go outside. We went outside. Then it was too sunny. Then we moved to the shade. And then, remember we've been out probably up since 10, maybe, to breakfast, get dressed, do everything we needed to do to be waiting for the cab at 12. Now it's, I don't know, maybe 4. And he's had no naps and eaten. He missed what would normally probably be a protein shake and maybe a snack or a dinner, although his appetite kind of declined a little bit over the days. Um, but yeah, the wait, it was brutal. And I bring up the whole thing. He missed naps. He starts getting confused and he's like, well, can't we go? And I'm like, well, we're waiting on the cab. And he said, oh, well, I thought we were parked over there. So he thought we had driven. And so I think just being tired, he was a little confused. And so we ended up going back in and, he's, I can tell he's getting antsy and tired, confused, ornery. And he's like, so I call again. I'm like, hey, what's up with the will call? How long do you know? They're like 5 to 8 ETA or estimated time of arrival. I go over to him and I'm like, 5 to 8 minutes. He's like, I don't think I can wait 5 to 8 minutes. I don't have 5 or 8 more minutes. I mean, I'm like, well, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Like, are you going to spontaneously combust in 5 to 8 minutes? What does that mean? Well, all of a sudden it's like, he's like, where's the couch? I want to lay down. Take me to lay down. And it was very, had that resemblance of, when to any of the parents out there, when you have kids and they just kind of like fall out on the floor and just kind of lay down limp. But, they're not 3 to 30 pounds, they're 139 pounds. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to avoid this. Please do not fall out. Um, because one, it'd be hard to get him up, but two, he wants to make progress. He wants to be independent again. And falling out on the floor, I'm sure the doctors would call EMS. Then he would have to be evaluated, and we'd probably be back in rehab, or I don't know. There would be a suggestion probably for, assisted living, nursing home type care. And so, yeah, we didn't want that. And, I started to put the pieces together and figuring out how this all happened. You know, the physician, the first one we went to, the one thing he actually had was the report of, you know, what we thought, he thought he had like a fractured elbow or something and had surgery, but he actually had bursitis in the elbow. And he ended up in rehab due to wound care. The wound wasn't healing correctly and he needed wound care. Now, I don't know if they thought he was non ambulatory and immobile, but if they're treating him for wound care, they're probably like, there's no reason for him to exercise, because that doesn't impact the wound. He's here to heal a wound on an elbow, not exercise. But if you had gone back and probably looked at the history and realized he had fractured kneecaps before and had to learn kind of to walk again after being laid up from that, then you would understand the need for some movement. And so that's kind of the whole issue I have with this whole thing is that you took somebody who was independent and only needed 9 hours a week of assistance to help him run errands and stuff, dressed himself, did all his own stuff. I mean, cooked for himself. I mean, my wife cooked for him some, but his English muffins and different things like that, his apples. But you take somebody like that who's independent and you don't exercise them for 2.5 to 3 months and they just atrophy. And now he can't stand, can't transfer. It's difficult and it's frustrating for him, rightfully so. It's like a loss of momentum. And at 97, that's probably hard to build. You don't want to put your foot on off the gas. You want to keep it on and finish strong, I'm sure. But yeah, we finally made it back. He simmered down a little. He was starting to have conversation and the driver was really cool. We got the same driver and another veteran. Shout out to him. He was really nice. He caregived for his mom when she had cancer and he was a little bit older than me. And so we're very like, in these similar situations. He was very understandable, understood when he was kind of cranky and why, and was able to talk to him. And I think Buck actually even apologized to him or said something. But, you know, yeah, it was rough. And then we got home and it was like he wanted some ice cream. And then I'm pretty sure he passed out. But the moral of the story is, you know, the learning curve is steep. It's not always going to be perfect, especially the first time you navigate it. It's like traveling with a newborn. You have to look, factor, and take into consideration like food, naps, waking up, changing, all these different things. And, if he hadn't had that appointment before, us kind of not knowing that it would be this much of a toll, then we wouldn't have done it. And subsequently, he was supposed to have a alternate appointment on Thursday, and I rescheduled that to Monday. Now we know, hey, the morning, so he can eat, get in, get out, and come back and have lunch and a nap. That's how he's going to function best. So we got that rescheduled, got that redone. And now that we know better, we do better. But man, I tell you what, my whoop band the next day, like I had like a 6% recovery. My sleep was terrible. My strain was high. My body felt it. I'm like, I was the one, I mean, doing all the pushing and stuff. I go, but, why am I so sore? Well, my back still hurts. There was that jacked up transfer, multiple shifts. Um, yeah, and probably a lot of tension, I'm guessing. Anxiety being stored in the body, not helping whatsoever. So the next day was Wednesday. Today's Friday. Yeah, Wednesday. That usually comes after Tuesday. What did we do Wednesday? I, oh, we took it easy, but I want to say physical therapy and occupational therapy both came. But he did really well. And we figured out the exercises. As she was doing them, I was like, okay, write them all down so I know how to work them out. He did really strong. He was able to kind of stand at the sink once we transferred him to the chair. Then he sat on the couch for a while and spent time in the living room watching his normal channels from his normal position. So that was kind of cool. And I actually told him, I was like, Man, if I had known you were going to perform so well today, then I'll make sure to take you out for more hard days like we had on Tuesday. But even though he's 97, you put a you know, a female therapist in front of him, like any guy, I guess he's going to try to perform. So, yeah, he did well. He did well. And then occupational therapy came. So he got a good workout, both lower body and upper body. We get some tips and tricks. We know what we need to strengthen and how we're going to do it because that's going to become important later in this discussion. Or I'm the only one having a discussion with myself, I guess, but thank you guys for listening. So, yeah, Thursday. What was Thursday? It's kind of a on and off of hmm. I took my daughter to school and then went and spent time with my dad. Also did a little bit of that today. So that's nice. You know, my wife and I just depending on what she's got and when she's got it, um, I get a little break to get out and fill my cup, spend time with my daughter, spend time with my dad. And I know I took the morning and did that. Probably went to the chiropractor, got adjusted. Um, I think, man, the days are so long. It's only been almost 2 weeks, but it seems like it's been months that this has been going on. Yeah. And it only feels natural for me to talk about it here on the podcast. Um, but I digress. So yeah, I got to hang out with my dad a little bit. We came back and I believe we had lunch, and my wife went and did kind of her thing, whatever it is she does. I mean, I know what she does, but I'm not gonna blast it everywhere. But she did her thing. I hung out with him, and yeah, they had a school event like 4:30 to 6:30, spectacular. Oh yeah, we had dinner Wednesday night with Buck. He likes that kind of thing where we all eat together. He's kind of old school. I kind of like it too. But that brings me to the point was the spectacular was 4:30 to 6:30, and he's like, "Where are the girls?" I'm like, "Well, they had that event. Remember, it's 4:30 to 6:30." He goes, "Well, it's 6:41. Where are they?" I'm like, I'm sure they're cleaning up, because they play in the field and a lot of the moms and everybody helps pick up. It's a kind of parent volunteer friendly place. And um, yeah, so they stopped off and got some food and finally got home. And, he always asks about my wife. Where's she? I mean, heck, I'd rather wake up to her than wake up for a minute just because I shift my computer just a minute. But as I was saying, I'd rather wake up to her than me. 100%. So I get it. And then comes today. Man. But today kind of started last night for me. So my back has been tweaked, and my daughter's feet were sore from wearing a new pair of shoes to school all day and then doing the spectacular. And, my wife passes out, and my daughter's like, I want you to rub me. And she's on this really high mattress. And I'm like, man, I cannot get up there. It's going to be hard to get up or get off because my back's been like a little whacked. Because I'm talking, I'm not very tall, but let's say the top of the mattress is somewhere between my belly button and nipple line. Yeah. So it's like a hurdle to get up. And that's because, oh yeah, Wednesday, the hospital bed came. And so we took the futon mattress and put it on top of the other mattress because the mattress in that room is not that great. And whoever put the futon together, you know, stripped the fuck out of it, put mismatching bolts on it. So it was unable to be taken apart. And if it wasn't for the young strapping man who delivered and assembled the hospital bed, here to help me, um, we wouldn't have gotten it out because we had to kind of like take it long ways, then halfway stand it up, then dip it through like doorways around a chandelier. I mean, it was, and then we went out through the front door and kind of circled around into the garage. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten it through. But yeah, that was a whole other thing. So shout out to that guy too, Med Solutions. I didn't get his name, but he probably remembers. Helped me with the futon. Super cool. So I mean, in spite of all the challenges, there's been a lot of good people along the way, and some not so good. Seems like we get one in the crowd every week at least. So, but everybody's been pretty cool. So I dig it. But yeah, I rubbed my daughter's feet last night. Wife's asleep, and her feet are kind of draped over me. It's kind of her thing that she does that makes her comfortable. And usually, like when I put her to bed at our normal house, um, my back's not hurting for one, and two, her bed's much lower. But I just kind of like shimmy out like I'm doing the limbo, drop my feet off and kind of slide off sideways of the bed. Well, I attempted to do that and there was that big drop and man, the the nerve pain was Top Gun take my breath away. Only it wasn't a love scene. It was a hate. Your body's hating you for this. And I kind of walk it off, go to the bedroom, have the TINS unit on because I'd gone to the chiropractor. He's like, wear it all day. And my back was almost kind of good most of the day because, you know, we had the physical therapist come on Thursday and the nurse visit on Thursday as well. And so Buck was wiped out and slept good. He wasn't like he didn't want to transfer because even with the physical therapist here, that wheelchair slid again and was damn near, that scares him because it reminds him of falling and he does not want to fall. So he chose to do all his exercises in bed, skip the sink, standing to sink, transferring to the chair, and make it a drink. So my back actually got a rest until I got off the bed. I fall asleep. Probably a couple hours later, I just wake up and I just can't get comfortable because I'm in pain. This section of my lower back, no matter how hard, how high I turned the tinge unit up, whatever, like it just didn't feel good. And the other option was it felt better standing up. But then I was like super duper tired. And, I can't sleep standing up. I suppose I could go back to the Navy days. Some people did it, but I have a unique ability to stay awake. Insomnia is my superpower. It's not very healthy, but yeah, you wake up when you wake up. Because, yeah, there was one night earlier in the week, I had 3 hours of sleep, woke up, was up for like 2.5 hours, and then it's my Whoop says I napped for 3 hours and 45 minutes and still got up early. So, I still got the total amount of sleep. But sometimes that happens. I sleep for 3 hours and I'm up for two. Um, but yeah, I could not get comfortable. Took a bunch of Advil and put the tinge unit on and got this big ice pack that I'm sitting on now. Finally got into a position kind of flat, kind of arched with the ice kind of halfway up my back under my shoulder blades because I have a lot of tension like right below shoulder blades, a little bit lower top of the back. And my hips have been hurting, everything like I haven't been able to stretch as much. I haven't been able to exercise as hard. I mean, it's this underlying always waking up like at a -3 of what you normally are, on a scale of 1 to 10, if I wake up like a 7 or 8, or if I get 100% sleep score and I fill all that and a bag of chips at number 10, this pain automatically, man, it drops you to like 70%, you know, and yeah, I mean, oh, and when that kind of stuff happens, then it creates like an anxiety too, because each day it's like, is it going to be better today? Is it going to be worse? Is it healing kind of a thing? Am I going to do anything that's going to compromise it? Because you never know what you're going to have to do or how the day is going to, how stressful it's going to be. 'Cause there's almost like one stress event per day, maybe. And so you factor in that anxiety on top of some mishaps, the pain. It can wear on you. Yeah. I mean, this is, I don't know, due to what? It's been challenging, very meaningful, but definitely challenging in so many ways, going through all the emotions for different reasons. Also, spending someone of that age, you see your own mortality. Um, yeah. So we have ages 10 to 97 in the house right now. But today, I was kind of got my back. It was meh. Was having coffee, doing my thing, and he slept in, so that gave me a little break because I was super tired from missing those hours of sleep during the day. And, you know, I kind of do the morning routine, and, he didn't like the taste in his mouth. And I bring him like his orange juice to take his morning medicine, his English muffin. He's like, I want to brush my teeth. I'm like, okay. Some people, it depends. You might want to brush your teeth. So everybody's got their own thing, but pre or post orange juice, I'd probably more, I don't know. I'd probably just drink my orange juice, then brush my teeth. But he wanted to brush his teeth, but he was like real standoffish about it, like kind of like I needed to be a mind reader type of thing. Or that I don't like the taste in my mouth automatically means, yes, I've been with the same woman for 18 years, but I still cannot read minds. Like, just say, I want to brush my teeth. Can I brush my teeth? I'm here to serve you. I will do anything you want me to do. Sometimes probably too much, but, I'm not a mind reader. Just say, hey, I want to brush my teeth. So we got that taken care of. Then he didn't want to eat. And I'm like, okay, is something wrong with the food? He's like, I want my futon. And I'm like, well, you have this bed. It lifts up. It's better. The futon didn't do shit. Um, it was low, hard on our backs, not great on him, having to pull him up different ways. He could never get comfortable. He had to be pulled up multiple times because the back didn't raise, different things like that. I mean, um, now we can raise the bed when we need to change him. I mean, it's just so much easier and so much better, safer. But he was stuck on that tip. And right about then, I think my wife calls and she was going to come give me some time to do some stuff and maybe take my dad to the VA today, which is what I ended up doing. But, I was kind of glad because I was like, mm, I didn't really know how I was going to address it. Because I think if you go back and you listen to some of the other episodes, I say it takes us all, whether it's a man and a woman, we're going to have different conversations depending on who's talking to you about what, and I go into this mode of management. And like I said, sometimes, like when you talk to doctors, like, this guy's double my age. He's got a master's, I got a master's, but his is engineering. I'm sure he's smart as all get out. And we'll lead back into that naval architect and then taught project management for the building construction department or construction management um, at Texas A&M. Yeah. So he's very familiar with process safety, all these things. And, I go into this mode of like, so I'm trying to figure out why. Well, what's so special about the futon? Well, it's two pieces. Well, so is this hospital bed. It's a mattress and another piece. And it's, all it was this whole like, I want my futon. And I told my wife, I'm like, and she kind of, you know, she's you, he's usually better with her in terms of, it's just different. Guys are just different guys, and she's nurturing, but he gave her a hard time too. And she's like, well, when you can walk again, you can have it. Which kudos to her. But, the point of it is our approach is so different. She's like, it's like a child. You just have to be like, no, this is how it is. That's how it's going to just know. But for me, I take a more managerial approach of wanting to go, look, I don't care about your age, your degree, or anything. Just like a physician or somebody else who wants to persuade you, it's like, you're not going to bully me or my wife into what you want because that's what you want, or you're using this, that, or the other. Like, like safety, that's the priority, period. Okay. Our safety equals his safety. If we're hurt, then there's no one to take care of him. And this is kind of what I digested when she came. My dad needed to go to the VA, so I'm like, yeah, I'll take him, get out of the house and be able to talk to him and took him to vote and stuff like that. And we get to chit chat and stuff. But, like I was telling him, it's like if anybody else were able to do it or willing to do it, they'd be doing it, but they're not. That's why we are here. We're the only volunteers, you know, unless it's going to be a nursing home, which he doesn't want. So we're giving him that opportunity to regain independence and be at home in his own comfort and improve. So I was in that managerial mode, kind of, am I going to have to come back and have this difficult conversation? And that kind of goes back to what I was saying about working with physicians and difficult conversations. You know, I was in the zone, in the mode, ready to break it down for them. You're an engineer. We're in construction management. You understand safety. You understand process. OTPT, everybody's been here. We got the plan. We follow the plan. Even if you, you follow you follow the plan and the process, the daily processes. And even if they don't feel like they're working, they do. You'll know further down the road. It's like working out. I didn't see any weight loss the first 30 days. It took a long time. And one day I was just like, holy cow, I'm way thinner. but it was because of the process. I was focused on the process and I was ready to break that down for him. Like, hey, we got to be safe. This is the thing for now. You want more? You get to that point, right? Earn it. I want to, I'd love to bring it back in here. I'd love to do whatever it is you want, but we're not going to do it out of whether it's like a kid throwing a tantrum or bullying or whatever it is. It's not how it works. That's not what we're here to do. Um, I mean, he can't ambulate, so he's not going to chase me out. He's not going to bring the futon in himself, so I don't have to worry about it. But heck, it's like I said, there's that similarity to a child, only they talk, they're double your age. They've lived and seen a lot. And I'm sure he knows better on some things, but maybe some things not. And we're all going to get that way. Should we be so lucky to live that long? And some of us are going to suffer ailments along the way, you know, have dementia and Parkinson's that runs in my family on the two different sides. Yeah, that's what I get to look forward to. And understanding that I maybe cantankerous like that too. Not feel well, want to do my own thing. Am I going to listen? I have to tell my dad sometimes to listen. It's like he's finally starting to get it. Like, you're 70, you're not 50. You don't heal the same way. Like, don't be dumb. The older you get, a fall is more serious. You end up back in this revolving door if you're not smart, if you don't take care of yourself, and especially like if you need to use a walker, if you need to use this a gait belt, if you need to use whatever it is, assistance, use it. If it means the difference of you sleeping in your own bed and watching your own TV and eating what you want to eat when you want to eat it, because that's not how rehab and all those facilities work. So, yeah, you got to be smart. And, just with me having a sore back, not being at 100% for like 10 days, it's, when you have to give 100%, you're not 100%. It takes everything every day because you have no idea what the day's going to bring. And so, man, I had two 8:30 nights where I was ready in bed by 8:30, exhausted. So, yeah, you got to take care of yourself. You have to be smart. And like me at 48, I don't want to injure myself more. And that's why we just have to follow the plan of care. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we choose to be here, you know, my wife, myself, um, even my daughter. She could be with her grandmother. She's here and adapting well. She's a trooper for that. But, we have enough work, enough money, enough whatever. This isn't necessary. And so it's like, hey, if we have to get that raw, then I'll get that raw. If that's what it takes for him to understand, or anybody who comes at me. If I need to break it down for you, I will. My why. And on top of it, let's see what else happened today. Oh my gosh, we had that. And then there's like a little money mishap of, somebody that my wife works for wrote her a check that didn't clear. Um, Luckily, we had plenty of money in our account to cover it, but it kind of, and we're fine. But it, they took off the fees. So thank you, bank, to the lady I talked to today. Ran into someone good. See, and she was able to explain, hey, that, yeah, she was able to explain kind of how it happened because it was kind of like we cashed a check, but I guess our funds are responsible for covering the check since it's at our bank and not the bank. Should have went to that person's bank and cashed it, but we didn't. So, but well, Sonic Ice crunch there. But another good thing, I talked to somebody who was nice, kind, courteous, removed the fees, helped me understand exactly what happened, and I'm grateful we had the money to cover it and that we're okay. See a little theme there? Kind of some moments that crush you through the week, but then, some things you can control, some or most of it you can't. Some of it you can. But regardless of how it happens, having the cool conversations along the way, the people that help you out, the people that explain to you what it is you need to know. Um, yeah, that's the magic. Running in to cool people, seizing those moments, being present in the conversation. And, and speaking of being grateful through this experience, is that because of how crazy it can be, never knowing how the day to day is going to be, and that it gives you everything, you're forced to live very present. Even me sitting here at a kitchen table where a dishwasher was running because I'm not at home. I'm not in the place I actually set up and intended to record. Yeah, you just take messy action and go. Live in the present, get it done. And it's also, my wife and I have grown, I feel like, been closer because we have to rely on each other. It reminds me of the early days when you set off to nowhere with not a lot of plans. I remember lived in New Braunfels and it was like my friend Andrew decided to move back to Dallas and we were in kind of like a corporate housing. And so my wife and I, she was my girlfriend then, we were going to have to leave and um we just relocated to Austin like a week later. It was actually around this time because I remember we interviewed and one of the first things I think we made when we started was like the dirt worm cake or something or I remember seeing it there. I don't know. It's also where I met Layla. Shout out to Layla if she's listening or you know her. We used to carpool. We got the job the same day at the Hills and man, 2006, 2007 maybe. Yeah, long time. People. Yeah. People and the moments and the conversations, the being present, you know, my wife and I relying on each other, having each other's back, my daughter kind of being a trooper, showing that together, we do this as a family, why we're doing it, and enjoy it, kind of not knowing where it's going to go. Our daughter will know what it means someday to have done this, experience this, and hopefully she'll get something from it. The seeds are being planted. for her to hopefully grow up and be a just a kind, good human being, thoughtful, and contribute something to the world, be it art, something that pleases others or serves others. So there's a lot going on here now that I think about it. There's even been a question of this, the podcast. Do I do the Caregiving Chronicles? Does the audience want to hear this? Is this what the Men of the House is about? I think it's on brand for me, but it's also an opportunity for you guys to learn about me. Because some of you knew me a long time ago. Some of you currently know me. And you can see how you knew me and who I am now and how that's different. I was telling Scotty G that, for me, I can listen to, there's content, all kinds of content you can listen to that's sound, I guess you could say, that's maybe factual, maybe inspirational. But for me, I connect to the host. Not only does the content need to be good or funny or truthful or engaging, um, I have to kind of have a connection to the host, to the person, whether I like their comedy, whether I think they're just a good person, um, whether I think they spit the facts, or whatever business endeavors they have going that I would support. But yeah, and especially now that I create more than I consume, with even less time lately for consuming, my consuming is very limited, or my choices. I'll just say I cleaned up my whole podcast library to maybe 8 shows. Yeah. But I probably listen to a couple more so than others religiously when I have the opportunity, usually on a walk, because I'm getting less walks. Here lately, I'm getting my evening walks instead of I used to like to work out in the morning, but now I'm figuring out with my wife here. I think part of it was that holiday weekend, the first week, I got a little off track. And um, I feel like if I do it at the end of the day, then I'm doing this workout. I'm decompressing and filing everything that I've already been frustrated about. Where in the morning, I feel like you get a morning workout. It almost like it's like putting on body armor to strengthen you for what may come throughout the day because you already got the hardest part of your day out of the way. But of course, with my back being kind of cheffed at the moment, um, even if I can, oh, sorry, there was a mosquito and I tried to swat it and turned off the whatever you call this, the ring light thing. Turned off the mic for a second. Anywho, yeah, I get up early anyway, so I might as well just start getting the workout in early. Of course, my back will heal and I can hit up the kettlebells, the burpees, whatever it is I need to do. But I'm sick of feeling hurt. Hopefully, it's a strain of a muscle like any other muscle. Maybe I can feed it, nourish it, nurture it, and it will come back stronger and bigger and better because that's what this is all about. It's about growth, about getting stronger and being character, belief, alignment physically. So, the end of week 2. Haven't got it all figured out, but I've got it figured out much better. And I can see where it went wrong, why it went wrong, learn from it, try to prevent it, and then continue making those connections along the way to the people, to the strangers, because that's the best part. That's where the magic happens. Hopefully, that's why you're listening. Hopefully, that's why I'm listening when I listen to people, but it's all about the conversations and the connections to others. That's what makes the day and makes the world go round. So, on that note, go out, be the person that you want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.